I'll show you how it's done. Shazam!
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Underdeveloped here. And today we have another movie review for you guys for the new movie Wonka, starring Timothée Chalamet.
Anyways, Wonka is the story of the young Willy Wonka. Wonka, this man who came out of obscurity, goes to the big city to start his chocolate business, running this place called, I forget what it's called, but he comes to right where all the big chocolate people are, where they have their big chocolate corporations right next to each other, and he tries to set up shop and try and make some money to start his chocolate factory. But along the way, he finds himself racked with debt, having to make friends or to really stay alive and help himself earn enough money to really get out there and pursue his dreams, while also being pursued by the other chocolate manufacturers who bribe the police to take care of him. Take care of him. And Wonka just has to find a way to just sing and dance his way to the top, coming up with ways to make all sorts of crazy chocolates and sell them and make people happy and learn the true meaning of friendship and meet Oompa Loompas. And that's basically the movie. That is the plot. It is very all over the place.
Yep.
Yeah. Overall, this movie is just kind of alright. There's a lot of things here that are done well. It's a good looking movie for the most part. I do like the designs. It's clearly taking a lot of inspiration from the 70s Wonka movie starring Gene Wilder. But with that being said, there are a lot of things that are just very inconsistent throughout the movie itself, especially with the inconsistencies with that 70s movie. Being that where Wonka ends up in the movie, his character progression does not lead to that movie at all. Because here is hey, I'm a guy from nowhere. I'm here to pursue my dreams and figure out how tough life is. I'm going to keep this quirky, optimistic attitude. While by the time Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory started, fucking Wonka was just cynical and depressed and a real loner who didn't have any friends. So kind of weird. It'd be kind of weird to watch this movie and that one back to back. Really makes you wonder what the fuck happened in between. But
I don't know if this is an exact prequel to that movie.
I mean, dude, the Chocolate Factory he imagines in his head is exactly what the Chocolate Factory in that movie looks like.
But doesn't mean this is a direct prequel.
He's wearing the exact same outfit he is. The Oompa Loompas look exactly the same.
Isn't Wonka based off of a book?
It is, but they're clearly taking character designs and aspects from the movie from the 70s.
But that does not mean that it's a direct prequel.
Also, the fucking Johnny Depp. I feel like I can see Timothée Chalamet grow up to be the Johnny Depp version of Wonka.
I mean, they always compare him to Johnny Depp, so.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of how the characters are characterized in these two movies specifically, I can see that happening way more than Gene Wilder's version.
I mean, as a marketing team, I could see why they riffed the first one instead of the second one, because the first one is the more iconic one in cinema.
But here they're trying to I'm assuming they're taking inspiration from at least the book, because Roald Dahl company is somewhat involved in this. So I'm assuming they had say for a lot of things.
Yeah, so they probably want to do that.
Yeah, but when you're drawing the book, of course, your movie is going to come across more tonally similar to the movie that drew from the book, which is the one that looks totally different from this one. Ironically enough. But but other books aside, other movies aside, let's just judging it by its own movie. I don't think it does a lot of things all that great. The musical segments, I feel here are easily the weakest of the three movies by far. The musical numbers are very meh. A lot of the people are if they can sing well, they're not really putting all their effort into it here. A lot of the tones and voices and beats and rhythms and melodies are just kind of whatever. We're just doing it for a
especially with
paycheck.
Chalamet. I think a lot of his notes, especially the last scene where the last musical recreation where he did the famous remake of the song "Pure Imagination." I thought that was really weak.
Yeah.
Really, really weak vocals. No exuberance. No I mean, I get you trying to make it a little more sentimental, but overall, just the vocals are weak. The remake was weak. It just was not. It's almost why even remake it?
Yeah,
you know.
It might as well have been an original song because it came out so poorly.
Yeah. And then like the ton, I realized like Wonka was this much fantasy involved. You know, what I mean, this is like actually next level, like lightning and sunlight captured in a bottle to make chocolate.
Well, to be fair, that's always been a thing with Wonka.
I just said that's not something I recall. Only watched the movie, so
Yeah.
that's not something I recall. I know like the Johnny Depp one has some crazy shit like girly bubblegum she turned into a blueberry.
Well, both versions of that movie had that, to be honest.
Okay, you know, but
and
still, though.
and the '70s movie had a whole like that had a whole like room where everything in it was made out of chocolate. Like, there was chocolate trees and chocolate grass.
Yeah. I remember that chocolate grass. They had a bunch of candy stuff. Yeah, it was like a whole thing.
And they also had fucking I think it was gum you chewed that made you fly up in the air, just like how this movie has it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And one kid became actual chocolate.
Yeah, and one other kid got sucked into the TV, but the remake you got sucked to a microwave or some shit.
Actually, back in college, a acquaintance of mine that was me and him had screenwriting 201 together. He wrote a outline for a feature and it was like Wonka, but like it was like a rendition of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but Willy Wonka is like God. And you know, and in the opening sequences, he pretty much creates like humans, like from chocolate. Like that's the whole process. like kind of like the whole thing with the circle and the human.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's like, and his person's made of chocolate.
The Vitruvian man made out of chocolate.
Vitruvian man made out of chocolate. Yeah, Vitruvian man is like in a very this sonic construction is chocolate.
Wow.
And basically, he gives Charlie Bucket. He calls him Charlie Bucket.
Yeah. Well, that's the name of the character, Charlie Bucket.
Charlie Bucket. Oh, I never knew his last name.
Yeah.
Charlie Bucket. He gives Charlie Bucket the choice of like should he destroy creation or fix it as is. Yeah. That's pretty much what I remember from the story.
That's the exact opposite of what I was expecting you to say. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's what
I was 100% expecting to say like, oh, it's gonna be from the perspective of all the kids who had all the horrible things after them and show what happened to them, because we never see what happens to them in the '70s movie, so it's implied that they just kind of die off screen. Oh god.
Maybe they addressed that. I'm just remembering like the broad strokes of what I remembered.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But anyways, that's more interesting than the idea that anything this movie really has to offer.
I mean, that's like really like a rendition of it. It's not. It's like a definitely like you're taking a concept and you're kind of just doing it, you kind of changing it to its own thing. Mm-hmm. But a foundation in Wonka, which I think is cool. I mean, if you want to do like remakes like that, I think it should be reimaginings and big changes, but like retaining the core characters and principles. I think those are fun concepts to play with. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're not gonna do original material. Mm-hmm. But straight up remakes is kind of like whatever. I'm like,
yeah,
it's been a bunch of remakes has been done already. We'll need more remakes, you know.
No, definitely not.
And that's the big problem with Hollywood. But this movie overall, I mean, Timothée Chalamet is a star. Obviously, you know, I mean, like he's a fellow New York native like me. He actually went to. Yeah, I actually know people who actually knew him because he went to LaGuardia. That's like it's a good school, but like you know, people. I know actors and people that actually went there and met the dude. He was like the big man on campus. He was hot shit. He was dating Johnny Depp's daughter. Like he was like the man. And it turns out he actually comes from like a family of like performers, like Broadway people and stuff like that. So he already had his hooks into the industry. So he already was like on another level from jump. You know what I mean? Even when he was in school and college, he was already doing movies like Call Me by Your Name. But she was still in school when he did that shit. You know, so like his career was already going like you know high.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways. Overall, I'm going to get back to my point. Yeah, he's like a star, and I think this film didn't utilize him to his full potential.
Definitely not.
And I think maybe because the story meanders a lot, it kind of like in mixed of like what it actually wants to convey to the audience, like the emotions, the feelings, like the genres. Like it has adventure elements, but then has elements of like, actually the first hour of the movie was actually pretty good. I actually enjoy the concepts of like capitalism and also like debt and the shit that us as like millennials go through. Like Willy Wonka was kind of going through that, and then so they established like real goals, and like I want to see him achieve those goals. So it kind of established, you know what I mean, like a focused goal, you know what I mean, and it's established a world that was interesting. So I'm like, okay, I really want to see where this story goes. But like as the story goes, the plot starts to meander because a lot of other things, you know what I mean, take place, and then like so it's kind of like what exactly do you want the story to go? You're kind of meandering here. Like, let's keep the story focused. You know what I'm saying? So you're kind of losing my interest throughout the meat and bones of your film, and that's like a huge misfire when it comes to structure and plotting.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because a lot of things really didn't need to be there. Like Noodle. She didn't need to be like the long lost niece of like some big corporate guy.
No, like I don't see why you establish a connection. That was so unnecessary.
Yeah,
they already had their own arcs on their own. Why connect just for the sake of doing it?
Yeah,
makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, it is. A lot of this movie really doesn't make sense. It's not even like I feel like it's too nonsensical to take seriously, but not silly enough to actually be funny.
Yeah, and then Oompa Loompa is played by Hugh Grant. Not really that much of a presence.
No, he's in 5 scenes of the movie, counting the credits. And in the scenes that he is in, he only really does a major contribution to the film once, just to save Timothée Chalamet when needs saving. That's it. Yeah. That's all he does. Other than that, he's there to make unfunny jokes, just piss off after small amounts of screen time, and then just pretend to be a big part of the movie that he really isn't. Because he's all over the marketing of this movie. He's barely in this fucking movie. He was in Dungeons and Dragons more than he was in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was like damn near one of the main antagonists of that movie. Yeah. Like, he actually had a pretty vital role in that movie. Mm-hmm. But I get that now. Like, I get it now because this year, like, the movies he's been in, it's hard for me to, like, it's so far from what he usually does. So it's like, yeah. So it's like, I get that now. It makes sense that, you know, like, he's kind of doing these movies where, like, he's just really trying to do it for the money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But ironically, he still managed to be in somewhat decent movies. Not like he's just, like, pulling a complete.
I've never seen him I haven't seen him anything shitty, like, in the last year or so.
In general. So, like, yeah, so it's not like he's pulling a full depth and he just doing, like, a bunch of crap movies. Mm-hmm. Like a period, like him and Eddie Murphy. Johnny Depp, Eddie Murphy did, like, a decade worth of trash films back to back. Yeah. Like, 2000s was when Eddie Murphy really fell off. Like, he was really doing, like, live action. A lot of these Disney leads. It was, like, really Haunted Mansion, Meet Dave, 1,000 Words.
Pluto Nash.
Like, all these garbage films from back to back.
Yeah. Yeah, Nicolas Cage is another one of them. He did a bunch of shit for a long time.
For all of most. I mean, he had some bops like No One Made Money. He also had the National Treasure movies. Yeah. So he was doing this thing, but yeah, he like from like the 2010s, like early 2010s, he was doing like a myriad of like just bombs. Yeah. Most of Ryan Reynolds' career was bombs.
For a long time, it was until Deadpool happened. Yeah.
Back to this movie, so like. Yeah, so that's like one of my biggest problems, and the musical number is just kind of weak and uninspired, just very underwhelming. The whole movie's kind of like, if I was to give it a word, it'll be underwhelming.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it because you have a great cast who should make this funny.
Yeah, I mean this movie has a lot of potential, just doesn't realize it.
Yeah, because like I've seen Hugh Grant be funny, I've seen Mr. Bean be funny, I've seen Key be funny. Yeah, These are all people who could bring a lot to the table, and like
these are comedic geniuses.
Yeah, like honestly, the only joke I kind of laughed throughout this movie was the running gag of Keegan-Michael Key being increasingly fat with the more chocolate he keeps getting bribed with. Yeah. That's it. Because by the end of the movie, he's so large he can't even get out of a car without assistance. When he was like actually kind of skinny at the beginning of the movie. That's it. That's like the only time I really got a laugh out of me. So after that, it's like it tries to make jokes. It's not funny. It tries to have musical numbers. It's not really entertaining. Just a whatever experience. If you have kids, you want something to shut them up, then I guess sure, go ahead. But that's the only reason I really recommend this movie to anyone.
Like this movie should have been more like a kid's fantasy, like a world of chocolate and wonder and splendor. Mm-hmm. Like it should have captured the hearts and soul of a very magical, fantastical musical score that's transportive. You know what I mean? Beautiful visuals and CG that's just transported to another world and makes you fall in love. You know what I mean? And the beautiful music, like some real Disney shit, some like real Disney musical sequences. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like with the mixture of adventure and brains. Like that should have been, like the movie was trying to knock on that door, but it just did not make it. This movie could have been a real magical movie. For the kids, man. Yeah. They should have really, really figured out exactly what they're trying to do with the movie before they made it.
Yeah, instead of having a whole bunch of plot threads that aren't really established upon all that much, but we're supposed to care about them, even though A lot of them don't get... Again, a lot of them are barely addressed. But with that being said, I think it's time to get down to scores, unless you have anything else to say about the movie.
I'm good. I think I'm giving this a 60.
Yeah, 60 sounds about right. Because it's not bad, but it's not interesting either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that's the perfect way to describe this movie.
Yeah, 60 is a very mediocre score for a very mediocre movie.
Mm-hmm. It's what it deserves. What it deserves. But anyways, I think that's it for us tonight. Please make sure to like, subscribe button. Go watch good movies in the theaters. Support your local theaters. And we'll see you next time for some more movie reviews and other content.
Later, guys.